Hello, OT friends, and welcome to the Uncommon OT series. I'm Patricia Modis, and I'm your host, a Filipino-American, native New Yorker, currently based in Los Angeles, bulldog mama, and an uncommon occupational therapist myself for the past 22 years. On this podcast, you will hear me proudly feature the unique careers of occupational therapy practitioners working in non-traditional and role-emerging practice areas, settings where OT is uncommon. I invite you to receive a dose of OT inspiration, to learn, to think outside of the box, and to be energized and motivated to follow in these unconventional paths. Happy listening. Welcome back to the Uncommon OT series, friends. The podcast that spotlights forward-thinking occupational therapy practitioners who are redefining the edges of our profession. I'm your host, Patricia Modis, and today's guest brings a powerful blend of academic insight and grassroots passion to their work. Their OT practice centers around education, mentorship, and building communities. So I'm excited to share their journey with you, and welcome to the podcast, Dr. Samia Rafeedie. Welcome, Dr. Rafeedie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy person, always doing OT work, always have some sort of agenda that's OT related for the day. So I'd love to, delve into a little bit of that and, really kind of share with our listeners the passion that you have for our profession and what you do every day to help elevate us. And I'd love for you to get us started by, maybe telling us a little bit about you and maybe some of your favorite occupations.
Okay, great. Well, that's a good place to start. I am a professor of clinical occupational therapy here at USC Chan, and I've been on the faculty since 2008. So this is 17 years of being in the education realm of the world. And
Congratulations.
well, thank you. Thank you. I've been in OT since 2001. So I've been in OT for 24 years, and I have never stopped practicing. I think that's the part I feel so proud about. I guess clinically practicing, because teaching is practice. I think people forget that. But I've historically and still do work with people with adults who have physical disabilities. I practice at Keck Hospital of USC. I get my 1 day a month where I walk in the hospital with my scrubs on, and I'm like, damn, I am still an OT. So I get so happy on that day because I get to do chart reviews and connect with my colleagues across the way and collaborate with the nurses and the doctors and the physical therapists and the speech therapists and the case managers. And I get so happy. And then I have stories to share with students.
Yes.
I think sometimes they don't believe we're OTs, and they don't. And then even though you have OTR/L after your name, they're like,
Yes.
you saw patients yesterday? And I'm like, uh-huh. So I want to I also need to keep my practice relevant and know what's happening in the clinical world. And I'm very fortunate that I get to do that. So that's my 1 day a month. But otherwise, I teach here in the division. I teach adult physical rehabilitation. I've taught kinesiology. I teach our visionary content, which is a lot about policy, regulation, the Practice Act, how to be a leader, how to think forward, think ahead, how to be a visionary.
Ah,
And so it's like my new favorite course. It's a lot of fun, and I love the students. So I love working here. It's been great.
well, I love that there's so many dimensions to your work. And I love that you're able to, do all of it in order to fill your cup. Like doing the 1 day a month. I mean, how do you even score such a gig? 1 day a month.
I know. Sometimes you gotta fight for that little 5% of your contract. I remember when I first wanted it so badly, Dr. Florence Clark was our associate dean and chair, and I said, I still want to work clinically. And she said, well, you can't, because you work here. And I said, well, can I work across the street at the hospital? And she told me that I couldn't because it was not owned and run by USC. There was another company that it was like a business that comes in and contracts and whatever. So they wouldn't let faculty work over there. And then when USC bought the business back, I was like, now I can work over there. So for a little bit of time, I actually did per diem work at Good Samaritan Hospital downtown because I couldn't work across the street here. But yeah, I would do a little bit more than 1 day a month, but I am lucky. I get to do that. And I think it's all part of that negotiation that you do when you're a visionary, right? When you know what you want,
Yes.
then you have those negotiations and you say, I've busted my tail for this place. The least you could do is give me 1 day a month over there. I wouldn't
Yes.
say it like that, but that's kind of what happens. And I think when you have a place that respects you and trusts you and knows that you're doing hard work and that you care about your job and about the things that you do, they want to work with you and they want you to be happy. And I
Yeah.
think Chana's always been that for me. I think they've always helped me be happy in my job.
Well, I think you embody the perfect OT for this role, right? I'm hearing advocacy, I'm hearing all sorts of things and what you're saying, and which I think is a great segue for us, right? We're here to talk about the Occupational Therapy Association of California and membership and, trying to encourage our fellow OT practitioners to jump on the wagon with us, and why it's important to do so.
Yeah. And not just jump on the wagon, but help us push the damn wagon down the street.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Because if we just jump on it and it doesn't go anywhere, it's not really helping.
Not really helping. And it also wouldn't help if we didn't have the wagon in the first place.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think this is a really important topic and one that's very dear to my heart. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say my children and my spouse are part of who I am and part of what I do as well.
Yes.
I'm married to a wonderful man who's fully supports my career and my volunteer leadership with the state association. And my two little kids are not that little because they're both about taller than me. Um, they are my pride and joy. And they also encouraged me, Mom, you have to be the president of OTAC. You have to do it. We support you. 'Cause we had to have a family meeting before I took the position of president of OTAC.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I could do even 50% of what I'm doing if it wasn't for their support and understanding. So a big shout out there before we move into the business of OTAC.
Well, I thank them for sharing you with us
Yeah, yeah, for
because we
sure.
need you.
Likewise, it's a very reciprocal relationship because I need OTAC. I need the profession. I love what I do. I am what I do. And so
Hmm.
when Brian Edwards approached me about considering the president role last year, no, the year before, 2 years ago, because I served a term as president-elect, he said, Samia, I know you have a demanding job. I know you have kids. I know you're busy. I know there's never enough time in the day, but I really want you to consider running for president of OTAC. And I took that to heart because I do. I absolutely love OT. I absolutely love this profession, and OTAC is like another family to me.
Hmm.
So I had to weigh it. I had to weigh it, and I had to think about how am I going to pull this off? How am I going to do it? Because if I'm going to commit to this, it's got to be not just 100%, but I got to commit like 150
Yeah.
because when I go in, I go all in. I'm not giving you 75%. I'm not giving you 80%. I'm giving you all of me because
Yes.
that's who I am. That's how I was raised. So,
So what
yeah,
motivated you to go all in
yeah,
on this venture?
yeah. I think it's because I was seeing the state of the association and knowing that there was a lot of work that needed to be done and seeing what leaders before me have done. And still, there was so much more work to be done. And it's almost like someone's got to step up and go get into this role. And it is hard work, but I'm not someone who shies away from hard work.
Yeah.
I was, I, this is so funny. I was reflecting on like my leadership positions that I've had, and I used to see my father take on these roles growing up when I was young. He was the president of the Arab American Community Center in Northeastern Ohio. And I would see him with his suitcase, every Friday night because he was going to their board meetings. And I almost got this sense of like responsibility. Like, if you care about your community, you rise up and you work with your community. And I saw him do it. And I saw him do really amazing things for the Arab Community Center. And they were able to accomplish so much to keep us, the kids, connected with our heritage,
Mhm.
connected with our roots, connected with our culture, connected with our language. I would go to the Arab Community Center every Saturday. It was Arabic class that we had, and I learned how to read, write, and speak Arabic as a young child, and I carried that with me. And we learned
In Ohio,
in
amazing.
Ohio, of all places, right? And there were a lot of Arabs in northeastern Ohio, from Jordan, from Yemen, from Palestine, from Jordan, from Syria, from Lebanon, from Saudi Arabia. They came from everywhere. And they were nestled in this little northeastern Ohio without people that looked like them, ate like
Uh-huh.
them, celebrated like them. And all of a sudden, we all became a community. And so I think I learned at a very young age that that kind of responsibility is in me, and
Yes,
and
it's in
I
your genes.
it's genetic. It's part of
Yes.
my code. It's part of my code. So when I was in high school, I got involved in student council. I got involved in student government. I was the junior class president. I was the senior class
You were
president.
groomed. You were groomed for this role.
I mean, it just felt like a good fit. And I'm a good relationship person. I like to keep relationships. I stay in touch with my people, with my friends from elementary school and high school. We're on a thread and we touch base all the time. And so I felt like it was, yeah, something that I saw my parents do, something that I saw my family members do. My sister was also in student government and took on those roles. So it was like a pretty natural fit, I think.
Yeah. I love how you're sort of using those two parallels because I also come from a very community-oriented culture. And I also am in touch with elementary school friends. We have a Facebook thread and always, a day doesn't go by where someone doesn't greet someone happy birthday. And it's really quite heartwarming, right? I'm in I'm middle age at this point. So to be in touch with my elementary school friends for me is just, really exciting and I think rare nowadays.
It is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this very natural sort of progression or this being innate in you, community building and kind of getting rallying people together for a specific cause. Let's segue into OTAC and kind of,
Yeah.
let's talk about perhaps what your role is first.
Yeah.
Sure, everyone knows that being president of OTAC means you're the leader of the association, but what does that mean? What does
Yeah.
that entail?
Yeah. Great question. Um, I want to start by saying the entire board, they're volunteer leaders, and the association cannot run without them. And our executive director, Karen Pilastri, who's been with the association for 25 or so years, she's just amazing. And she knows the historical context of the association and just understands association work. And when I ask her why she sticks around, because that can't be easy work either. I
Hmm.
said, "Well, Karen, what keeps you around?" And she said, "Well, when I think about it, it's working with the best and the brightest in that profession." And I had to pause and I'm thinking, like, oh, because you work with the leaders that rise up to
Yeah.
take these positions. So a big shout out to Karen Pilastri, to the board, and to anybody who volunteers for their state association. What I do is I connect people and I help brainstorm new and innovative ways to generate revenue and to keep the association fiscally healthy because we're not right now. I mean,
Hmm.
let's be honest, we're struggling just like so many professional associations. But what I'm tasked with doing is making sure that we stay on track so that we can meet our strategic plan and our goals that we establish for the year so that we can maintain fiscal viability, we have to pay our association staff, like Karen and the people that work for us through the Association Resource Center. And we have to pay our lobbyists. We have a lobbying firm that we pay, and they represent us in Sacramento when there are bills and legislation that need our attention. And we have to keep our doors open, and we have to provide continuing education for the clinicians in the state. And we have to be a model for students who are the future of our profession. So, what I try to do is like orchestrate and coordinate all these things and all these people that are doing great work on behalf of the association so that we can continue moving forward and keep our doors open and do
Yeah.
pretty cool things. We try to do really innovative and cool things. So it's not just like being viable, but also what else can we do and how else can we think outside the box so that we can make ourselves this name that we want and leave a mark, you know?
Yes. Got it. So that's a big, giant role with many different arms. There's many different angles to it. And I know fundraising is a huge one, and that is typically achieved through membership, correct?
Yeah, our two biggest revenue generating possibilities are number one, membership. And number two, continuing education and conferences. That's how we make the most money. But you'd think I'm talking about millions of dollars, but I'm talking about thousands. Like we are trying to make thousands of dollars just so we can pay our bills.
Yeah.
But generating revenue comes from those two things, and those are our two biggest things.
Yes.
So when we talk about membership, we talk about not just people like wanting to network, connect with other practitioners. Those are, yeah, that's a given. That's what you're going to get. But we're also talking about paying the bills. And we're
Yes.
also talking about supporting the profession that supports you. And OTAC is the only state association that protects our scope of practice in the state of California. And so if something would happen with the regulations or the statutes or the laws of practice, we're the only association that can sit at the table and say, what's going on here?
Yes.
I don't know that people realize that. I mean, and I don't know that people understand the difference between OTAC and CBOT. And I think there's confusion there. So I'll break that down for the
Yes,
listeners.
please.
Okay, so the California Board of Occupational Therapy, also known as CBOT, CBOT, they're the people that issue your license to practice. So once you become a registered occupational therapist or a registered occupational therapy assistant, that's after you pass the national boards for certification in occupational therapy, right? NBCOT. You get your registration. You need your R to get your L. Once you get your license, then you are a licensed clinician and you get that from the California Board of OT. Please don't confuse that with the Occupational Therapy Association of California. That's the state association that represents OT in the state, and we're the people that liaise and communicate with the California Board of OT. In fact, we go to every single one of their board meetings. And if I can't go in person, we get on Zoom or their WebEx, or we send somebody else to represent us so that we're listening and we have a seat at the table, and we know if there are things coming down the pipelines that are going to change the way we practice, or if there's going to be an increase in the licensure fees, or sometimes they just want to collaborate with us and say, can you help us with this project? Or what do you all think of this? What's the sense that you get from the practitioners in the state?
Mm.
Because we work together, and it's been a beautiful relationship with CBOT. And I was just there on June 13th in Sacramento, got to go to the Department of Consumer Affairs and got to go to the board meeting, and we helped them make some pretty big decisions. So it's exciting, and OTAC is ready for it, and we welcome it, and we appreciate everything CBOT does, but we are two separate entities.
Yes. Thanks for clarifying that and, giving us really great examples of the difference
Hmm.
each. Um, so tell us about, I guess, the state of membership at this time or the state of the association. Where are we at?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a question that is kind of sobering for me, and it kind of breaks my heart. And I feel my cheeks getting red when I think about it because I sometimes it could make my blood boil, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, so here's the picture if you want the picture. We're struggling. We're struggling because of finances, and we're not the only professional association that's struggling. I think it's across the board in the entire country because finances are just very difficult when something is optional, right?
Mhm.
CBOT's not optional. You have to have a license to practice in the state. So people are going to get their license. But membership in the state association, well, it's an option for some people. It's like oxygen that I breathe. So I don't see it as an option. I see it as a
Mhm.
must for me.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people view it that way, but not enough. So we have about 22,000 licensed practitioners in the state of California, according to numbers that I've heard from the California Board of OT in recent meetings. So about 22,000 licensed OTR and OTA practitioners in the state. Roughly 1,000 of those 22,000 practitioners are members. And then the other 1,500 members that OTAC has are student members. And now they're paying a fraction of the membership cost. So we're not charging them the same as someone who has a full-fledged salary.
Yes.
But this is what's heartbreaking for me is that the state association could do so much more if we had the financial means to do it.
Yes.
And so when you have 22,000 licensed practitioners and only 1,000 of them, 4.5% are members, you're limited to doing things by what you have. And you're
Mhm.
working with a board that is all volunteer association leadership. I'm not getting paid to do this work for OTAC. I work hard for OTAC. I work every day and every night, and I'm not complaining. I absolutely love it. In fact, I would do it as a full-time job. I love it so much. I really do. It fills my cup even more. I have two cups, and they just keep getting filled. But
Well, we're so lucky to have you.
oh gosh, likewise. And I'm so honored and privileged to have this opportunity to serve because that's what it is. I'm a servant leader and it's my responsibility to do this. And I look forward to another person having that same passion and desire so I could say, take them under my wing and say, you're next.
Yes.
But yeah, so going back to the membership number, so 1,000 practitioners, about 1,500 students, and sometimes those students are like required to do it by their program.
Mhm.
So it's that's a double-edged sword sometimes because you force people to do something, will they continue doing it when they graduate? You hope that by the time they graduate, they understand that it's critical and that it's essential that they maintain their membership. But some of them don't. They pick and choose where they put their money. And I
Yeah.
think that's the situation with a lot of state association or professional associations all across the country is that people have to pick and choose where they spend their dimes because it's hard. It's hard
Yes.
financially, especially California. The price of living is through the roof. I mean, like
Mhm.
going to Trader Joe's to buy fruit and you're putting down 75 bucks for strawberries and blackberries and blueberries and raspberries and a bunch of bananas,
Tell
and
me
you're like,
about it. Yeah.
what did I even just buy? What did I even just buy? So we get that. I get that. But then I stop and think, but if I didn't have a job where I had the salary that I have, then so there's this conundrum,
Yes.
where it's like if you don't support your state association, you might not have the job that you love so much and get the salary that you need to pay your bills.
Yes.
So I see it as an investment. I see it as an investment. And it scares me that we only have 4% of our practitioners in the state who are members because when
That
we
is outrageous.
it is, and it's sad to me because, like I said, we could do so much more if we had. And then you hear people complain, well, about the conference, or they complain about the website, or they complain about whatever it is. They go, oh, I don't find anything that fits my needs, and all these things. I'm like, okay, well, be part of the solution. The reason why we can't upgrade the website is because we're broke. Like
Yes.
you can't fix something and make it better if you don't have the financial means to do it.
Yes.
And we put on some of the best conferences with the best speakers in the entire state. And if you're missing it, tell us what you're looking for. and we'll
Hmm.
get it. We'll bring it. I mean, we just started the education passport where with your membership to OTAC, you get one free PDU every single month. And so by the end of the year, you'll have 12 free
Wow.
PDUs and you're halfway to renewing your license because you need
Yes.
24 PDUs every 2 years. So we're trying ways to show people that there is a benefit and there is a value. And all you have to do is tell us what you're looking for, and I'll go get it and I'll find that for
Yes.
you. And I've connections. I've got networks all over the state. If we don't have it, I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it. And that's a promise. I'll make a couple of calls and we'll find some people. And I'm not bragging. I'm not showing off. I'm just connected. I have people.
Yeah.
And the USC family is a big network of people. And the OT community through OTAC is a big network of people.
Yes.
So if you need something up north, I've got people up north. You need something in San Diego, I got something in San Diego. You need something in LA, in the Inland Empire, where are you? I'll find somebody because I'm connected through OTAC and through my work.
Yes. And then I hear again the passion, right? Like you're so intentional in all of this that I 1000% believe that you're going to make that
I'll do
connection
it.
or
I'll do it.
find that person.
Oh, Patricia, if anything, I'm a person of my word. My integrity means the most. I am an honest, transparent, and hardworking person. And if I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And or if I can't, I will find a way.
So if there's anyone who can turn this around, it is you.
I I'm doing my best, and we've got a great board, and we've got great students who are the future of our profession, and I truly believe we can do this.
So let's talk about why it's important to do this because
Yeah.
I know we hear this all the time as practitioners. Yes, you should support your state association, support your state association. So
Yeah.
why should we support our state association? Where do the funds go? You talked about lobbyists and such. Can you give us a little bit more detail on that, just so that
Yeah.
folks really see where their money is going and
Yeah.
how it's being spent?
Sure. I love this question too. And I'm thinking about like where the money goes. And before I even go there, I do want to make just a little bit of a comparison with an
Yes.
allied health profession that we work very closely with. And I can see my own eyes rolling back in my head because we're always compared to PT and we don't love to be compared to anybody. But I
Mm.
say this because we're working closely with physical therapy on one bill right now, AB 1009, which is the PT and OT school-based credential bill, where we've been advocating and lobbying for this bill for over 15 years so that OTs and PTs who work in the school district can apply to become leaders and take management positions and leadership positions in the school districts because we're not allowed right now. We're not allowed right now. And that's like ridiculous. Why a doctorally or master's trained clinician or a clinician with bachelor's degree that has years and years of experience can't be a manager or a director in the school districts. So
Yeah.
we've been working with PT on this. So I've gotten to know their association leaders and they're strong leaders, and I asked their president, I said, how many members do you all have? And what does that compare with your licensed practitioners in the state? And the president shared the PT, the APTA, sorry, not the APTA, the California Physical Therapy Association, shared with me that they have 40,000 licensed physical therapy and physical therapy assistants, practitioners in the state of California, 40,000. And of those 40,000, they have about 10,000 members. So that's 25% of their licensed practitioners are members of their state association. And I think about the 10,000 of their members compared to our 1,000 and
Yeah.
how much more money they have for lobbying and
Yes.
putting bills out there that benefit their profession, their visibility, their power, their access.
Hmm.
And I cringe thinking about if we had 9,000 more members, what are things that we could do? Well, where does the money go? It pays our staff who are severely overworked and underpaid. We
Hmm.
have two full-time staff members now. We used to have triple that. So we can't
That's
even
all we can afford.
we can't
Just
afford them
to, yeah.
anymore. We only have less than one full-time lobbyist. We can't even afford a lobbyist full-time. That can she can only go to so many meetings. She can only knock on so many doors. She can only represent us in so many situations if we don't pay her. We
Yes.
can't pay, we can't even hire her full time.
And she can represent us on a part-time basis, basically, because that's all we can afford.
That's all we can afford. We could pay guest speakers honoraria. You know, we could bring in big names and be able to say, thank you for your effort and your time. Here's an honorarium. We're asking everybody to do things pro bono because we can't pay people.
Yeah.
We could have venues in more expensive and diverse locations. Right now, we've been in Pasadena for 3 conferences in a row because we can't afford anything up north. We can't move the conference anywhere. We can't go to the south. We can't go to San Diego. We get outpriced. We can't go to San Francisco or the Bay Area because we get outpriced. And we have a relationship with Pasadena Hilton, and they love us because we work well together and we can afford it here. So, and they've locked in prices and they're like, they just work with us. So we could do we could do different kinds of activities. We could, oh gosh, we could offer more benefits to our members. We could get a new website. We could, there's so much we could do with more money, but I think for me, the most important is that visibility for the profession and the advocacy that we do. I mean, these bills are expensive to
Yes.
run, and we can only run one bill at a time. We can't run two or three. And so, what does that do? It disempowers us,
Mhm.
and just like any person you meet who you tell them I'm an occupational therapist, the first thing they say is, "Oh, what is that?" Or do you help people find jobs? Or are you like physical therapy? And I think if we had more money, if we had more members, if we had more advocacy, if we had more bills with our name on it, people wouldn't ask that question anymore.
Mhm.
Maybe we could have a commercial on TV. Maybe we could have something on the radio. Maybe we
Yes.
could, it's like a lot of that money would go towards promoting and advocating for our profession. And right now we're weak. We're
Yes.
weak and we're broke and we're disempowered. And that's not how we want to be. That's not how I want us to be. I think OT is like the best thing to ever happen to healthcare. And I think we have so much to offer. And if people just understood what we did,
Ditto. All right. So what do we do? What do we need to do? We talked about membership percentages being 4.5%. Even if we just double that, I feel like that would already kind of, I don't know,
it'd be
take us
huge.
so much further than where
It
we are. So it's not like a big giant goal, right? I mean, I know it's probably not to make it sound like it's an easy task or feat, but we're not
like
talking
it's
outrageous numbers to reaching outrageous numbers here.
it's not rocket science,
No.
Patricia. You said it. It's not like even if we doubled it, if we went from 1,000 to 2,000, we could breathe. We could breathe easily. We could do these things. We could improve, our processes, and we could hire more help, and we don't have to work around the clock 7 days a week. Um, to try to make ends meet and still plan for a deficit in the budget. I mean, right
Yes.
now we are planning a deficit. We plan to not make enough money next year. That is so depressing to me because it shouldn't be like that. So if each of those 1,000 members just asked a friend to join, we'd have 2,000 members. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, how silly. Why wouldn't that be doable? What's not doable about that? And here we are. And I feel like the begging one person at a time, trying to explain the importance, it's not working. It's not
Hmm.
working. So then it's like, okay, well, are our methods off? Are we off in our methods, or are people just apathetic? Do people just not care?
Yeah, those are such great questions. I'm trying, to think from my perspective and I mean I'm a member. I understand the importance. But maybe others do not understand the importance and really how this is so clearly linked to their own jobs and their own, you know, uh income sources.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think sometimes people don't realize that the work OTAC does protects their jobs and the way they work and
Yes.
the money they make. And I think if someone stopped to think, what if there wasn't an OTAC? Um, it would be a very difficult time for OT practitioners in the state
Yes.
because they wouldn't have representation.
Yeah, and in a way, hearing the 4% and the lack of representation and where we are currently as a profession, it makes sense. It makes sense why we're misunderstood, why no one knows what we do, or a limited amount of folks know what we do, and why we perhaps will be the first ones to be cut from the giant scheme of things. Um, okay,
It's
so
survival of the fittest, right, Patricia?
yeah,
And if we're comparing ourselves, which we do sometimes with PT, they're far more powerful than we are. Why is it that their members get it? I mean, that's my thing. Why are they smart enough to realize it? And we're just, oh, well, it'll be fine. Everything's good. We're so nice about things and we're so like, we just don't like conflict and we don't like talking about power and we don't like talking about money and we don't like talking about controversy. We don't like talking about politics. I'm telling you what, if we don't stop that and get in the game, we're going to get chewed up and spit out. And
yes.
I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to sit for it either. Um, that's not in my plan book, and I hope it's not in your. I know it's not in yours because you're a go-getter and you're out there. But people need to wake up because if we're not, I forget what the saying is. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. If you're not
Mm.
sitting at the table, you're on the menu. And I want to be at the table. I want to own the table. I want to run the restaurant. And I want all of us to run the restaurant because
Yes,
we can do
yes,
that. We don't have to just sit at the table. We could run the place.
we sure can.
We sure, and we
Okay.
need to. Yeah,
So we want to encourage our fellow OT practitioners to be members. Sign up for
yes,
membership. Sign up for membership because it's what's going to break down these barriers that we currently have.
that's right. It'll break down the barriers and it'll strengthen our profession and it will give us a voice when there are healthcare matters on the table. I mean, I don't know if people realize this, but the budget in California is a disaster. And, we're looking at, and the disaster doesn't just start and stop in California. There's budget crises all over the place. And there are states that are so scared to lose federal funding for different avenues of healthcare and education that people are being very particular about where their money goes. And if people start losing their Medicaid benefits and start losing access to OT, we're going to lose our jobs.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Do people even realize that that's a reality or that that's a
And that it's
possibility?
connected.
And that it's connected and that it's connected. And so when I show up every day at work, I really don't think about Donald Trump and what he's doing at the federal level with the federal government or with Gavin Newsom and what he's doing with the California budget and the state budget. But I'll tell you what, every time I go to work, it is connected to those things.
Yes, it is.
It is. And love it or hate it or anywhere in between, my salary depends on the financial health of the state and of the country. And I gotta pay my bills too. We all gotta pay our bills. But if we don't have that representation, I mean, I can't go to Sacramento every time there's a meeting that requires OT at the table. I don't think you could either, Patricia. As much
Mhm.
as we both love occupational therapy, we can't leave our families and our jobs and our responsibilities to go up to Sacramento every time there's a meeting that requires OT representation. That's
Yeah.
why it's important to pay a lobbyist. That's why it's important to pay someone who represents me because I can't do it and you can't do it. And none of the 22,000 licensees can do it. We need someone to do that on our behalf. And
Yes.
so that
And we
membership,
need we need more than one part-time person to do that on all of our behalfs.
that's right. And
And
if we
this
had more of
one
those,
part-time person is representing 22,000 OT practitioners in California. I That just blows my mind.
well, and here's the even sadder part. That one person not only is representing those 22,000 licensed practitioners, they're actually representing the 1,000 that are members of the state
Yes,
association.
that's true.
How scary is that? Because then the people writing these bills and the legislation, they'll say, so you've got 22,000 rep, licensed practitioners in the state, and only 1,000 of them are being represented by OTAC. Why is that? Don't they care enough about their profession? So if they don't care, why should we care as lawmakers?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why should it be so important for a lawmaker to hear us out when we can't get more than 1,000 of our practitioners to become members and be represented by that lobbyist? That's what
So
I'm saying.
we
Is it
need,
apathy? I don't know.
yeah, we need to get out there. We need to, so membership is representation.
Yes, it is.
Membership means representing yourself.
And your profession and your future. And it's for your clients and the people you serve. I'll tell you what, I've one thing that I hear sometimes from people are like, we don't even know what OTAC's doing. I'm like, you come to conference? No. Do you read the newsletter? No. I'm like, okay, how else can we get this information to you? Oh, are you on Instagram? Yeah, we are. We're on Instagram. And I started recording a vlog, right? A
Yes,
video blog. And I'm
I
updating
love
people.
them.
Oh, I made two of them so far. I'm going to do them every time we've got updates, and I'm going to tell you what's going on. So, we're not just sitting around asking you for money, but we're working really hard so that you know what's happening with the profession in the state and with licensure regulations and statutes that are changing. We've got big changes coming up next year and the year after with our PDU renewals. I don't know if people have heard this yet, but of those 24 professional development units that you have to have every 2 years to renew your license.
Mhm.
As of January 1st, 2027, four of those 24 PDUs are going to have to be in the areas of ethics and healthcare. Two of them have to be in ethics. One of them has to be in the area of jurisprudence, which means understanding the California State Practice Act. And one of them is going to be in the area of diversity, equity, inclusion, occupational justice, cultural, socio political kinds of inclusion topics, anything that falls under that umbrella.
I
Four
like
of them.
that.
Yeah. And that's going to be a requirement to renew your license. And if
Okay.
you don't have those four, you don't get to renew your license.
Yes.
And so, guess where you need to go to get those PDUs?
OTAC.
You got
OTAC
it.
conference.
OTAC conference, special topics forums. We've got specialty symposia all year long. We've
Yes. And
developed
they're
new
so
ones.
good.
We are doing our best. We're getting the best speakers in the state. We have two new ones this year. One in women's health, which
Yes.
we did a 2-day women's health symposium. And then we have a research symposium coming up in July. So we're trying new things and we're trying to meet your needs. So again, I ask people who are not members, what is it that we're missing? What is it that we need to be doing? Because we will do it for you.
Okay. So what would be some action steps that folks can take? So one of which can be to communicate their needs. What is it that you're looking for? And who can they communicate that to? What would be the best way for our listeners to get that information to OTAC leaders?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Okay. Love this question. So I have a president's office hour one Monday per month. You can join me at 6:30 p.m. It's usually the third Monday of the month. And come into Zoom. I'm sitting in there chatting with people, talking about things, helping to problem solve, getting information, coming up with new ideas. You are free to join us for that. You
okay.
could email me. My email address is Rafeedie, my last name, Rafeedie at usc.edu. Happy
Okay.
to take your messages. You could call me. I'll give you my landline if you want it, 323-442-1274. I'm happy to meet with you. I'm happy to Zoom with you. I'm happy to have a coffee with you. I'm happy to come to your home, your workplace, or meet up in a neutral area. I have done it all. And I mean when I say it, I will listen and I will take every bit of what you're saying to heart. And if there's a change that can be made, we'll do it because we don't want to do this for people who aren't going to stay members or join. We want to do it for the people who we can bring in. And so if
Yeah.
there's something we're missing, we'll We'll fix it. We'll get it done. So I'm open to all suggestions. I'm an open book, and I'm excited about it. And I'm always open to new ideas.
Yeah, so I love that that we're able to reach out to you directly to get
I
this information to you.
Anytime. And I'm always here at work. You can meet me in East LA if you want. I'm here. I have an espresso machine. I'll make you coffee.
I'm coming over right now.
Oh, I would love to. I got foam. I got a foamer, and we have
Oh, I
like
love it.
syrup. I got flavored syrups. So we'll do the whole thing. I call it Sam Bucks.
Love it. Okay, so people can email you, people can call you. Any other action steps that
I
you
think
would like for our
yeah,
OT practitioner friends to take on?
I think the biggest action steps are to try and please recruit your friends to join. I think, Patricia, you said it, and it's like this kind of silly thing when you think about it. There's 1,000 members, and we each recruited one person. We would double our membership. And oh, the things we could do. It's kind of like the Dr. Seuss book. Oh, the
Ah,
things that we could do with that doubling or tripling or quadrupling of
yes.
members. So get someone to join. Come check out a conference. Come check out a special topics forum. Come check out a symposium. Tell us what you think. You know, join for 1 year, get your free PDUs. If you don't like them or if you don't think they're helpful, then don't renew. Or give us some constructive feedback and tell us what you need. Um, just communicate and think about the future of the profession. We lead the charge in California. I don't know that people know this, but we set the bar in California because we are such a giant state and we do
Mhm.
have the biggest association. And the irony of that is we have the biggest association, but we only have 4% of our practitioners who are members. Think of how much more powerful we could be. And if you love the profession as much as I do, it matters, and you want to see us growing and being stronger and more powerful. And so
1000%.
I think if you care about what you do, then this is a given. You should be a member of the state association, hands down.
Yes. And I think I've also learned through our conversation today that, I sometimes we sort of put our profession down and say, oh, yeah, nobody knows what we do, or gosh, we always having to explain what we do. And today, it was very clear to me why that is so. It's because we're underrepresented. It's because we are not representing ourselves. So if we want there to be more clarity about occupational therapy, our value, and how we can serve our communities, that has to start from us. And that has to start from state association memberships, representing us through lobbyists, and having us heard, or
Yeah.
having a seat at the table, like you said.
Yeah, it's because we want to be at the table, not on the menu. It's like we have to stop self-sabotaging, like we sabotage ourselves, and it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy almost, like where
Mhm.
we just keep saying, "Oh, nobody knows what we do anyway." Well, it's because of that attitude. So
Yes.
stop saying that. I think Dr. Anverazade said this during her inaugural. Like, just stop it.
Yeah.
Stop putting yourselves down. Stop putting us down and start walking taller and with your head up high and say, this is OT and this is why you need it. Damn it.
Hmm.
And this is what we do. And I'm going to be more powerful and I'm going to be represented and I'm going to stay a member and it will change. Without a doubt, it will change.
Well, so again, I can't even. I feel like the luckiest OT in the world to have you representing us, to have you speak with such passion, and you're imploring to all of us the importance of this membership and where this can really take our profession. So, Dr. Rafeedie, for your passion, for your transparency, I loved our conversation today. I hope, there's so much honesty in it, and really just, this is what it's like, people. Hopefully, folks heard it. Hopefully, it's resonating with some folks, and hopefully, this will result in another OT practitioner inviting another OT practitioner friend to become a member and hopefully making a difference in our membership numbers. So I very much appreciate your time and every single thing that you do for our profession. Thank you so very much.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. And thank you for having me. And thank you for giving me this space to talk about some of the things I'm so passionate about, which one of them being our profession and our state association. So I appreciate you. Thanks to the listeners too.
Thank you so very much. And I would love to have you back on to do a follow-up on this, right? Just to see where we are, the state of the association. And again, I hope that our listeners take this to heart and really understand the importance of our membership. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time.
you're welcome. Thank you. And from your lips to the powers of the universe, may it happen. And in a year's time, we'll be in a different situation.
Fingers
Thanks,
and toes crossed. We've got
all
this.
of it.
Come on,
We,
OTs.
we so got this. Thanks, Patricia.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Uncommon OT series. Connect with me at www.transitionsot.com. And don't forget to sign up to be part of the Transitions OT community. By doing so, you'll receive my latest compiled list of uncommon OT practice settings, the latest news on mentoring offerings, uncommon OT live events, non-traditional OT resources, and more. You may also follow me on my social media pages on Instagram and LinkedIn. And if you love this episode, head on over to Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts to follow, rate, and leave a review. I also ask you to consider pledging your support to my Passion Podcast project by being a patron on Patreon. It is very much appreciated. Sending big OT love. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.